Inside his home at 2 a.m. this morning. His home is located in Bandra in a very secure building, viewers, occupied by other important people. Not a building that anyone can just walk into and access. The fact that this particular assailant managed, and you can see him coming down the stairs at about 2:30 in the morning, managed to not only get into Saif Ali Khan's apartment unnoticed, perhaps not even captured on CCTV camera, and then walk out coolly and calmly as if nothing had transpired, despite having stabbed Saif Ali Khan at least 6 times. 2 of those injuries were very deep, in fact, had almost penetrated the spine, had, according to the doctors, led to leakage of spinal fluid. So it would have been a serious matter, viewers, had the cord got severed. But this was a dastardly attack. And in fact, viewers, operation had to be immediately conducted on Saif Ali Khan early in the morning because part of the knife got lodged within his body. The details that have been put out by the police and others gleaned from police sources, though raise more questions than they answer. Let's go through what allegedly happened. So here in brief, viewers, is an AI-generated simulation of what actually happened. We are told that the intruder was near Saif Ali Khan's son's Jay's room. A maid spots the intruder, an argument ensues. Saif and attackers come face to face because Saif hears this commotion. The attacker stabs Saif 6 times. Viewers, the timeline that we have been able to piece together is intriguing. At 2 a.m., Saif Ali Khan was at home with sons Taimur and Jay. Wife Kareena Kapoor was reportedly not at home at the time. The house help discovers unknown person, confronts the intruder. The commotion wakes up Saif Ali Khan. He tries to intervene. Between 2 a.m. and 3 a.m., Saif Ali Khan is attacked with a sharp weapon by this intruder. Saif is attacked near the room of his children, his youngest children, during the burglary bid. The actor is stabbed 6 times, suffers 2 deep gashes, 2 deep wounds. He's rushed to Leelavati Hospital by his children Ibrahim and Sarah, who the help call, and they live on a different floor in the same building. So they immediately helped their father and took him to Leelavati Hospital. Now viewers, in between this at 2:30, and you can see the little time stamp on this footage, and you can see that 2:30 in the morning, in the dead of the night, this individual is emerging. Now he's in no hurry really. If you have attacked somebody in a building such as this, which is packed with security, where there are many domestic help already present, you would not be making such a casual escape. You would be really running for your life. Anyhow, Saif Ali Khan is brought to Leelavati Hospital at 3:30 in the morning. Made statement to the police suggests that a 35 to 40-year-old assailant entered the home on the 11th or the 12th floor. This individual looks slightly on the younger side, but attacker threatened a female house help with a hexa blade. This is what we are being told by the police, off record. The house help asked the attacker what he wanted. He said reportedly that he wanted 1 crore rupees. Saif Ali Khan hears the commotion and approached the armed attacker. Saif got injured in 6 places during the ensuing scuffle with the attacker. The sharp weapon hexa blade broke and got lodged in Saif's body. The attacker flees from the home via the stairs that purportedly he came up by. Ibrahim Ali Khan, Sarah Ali Khan take him, who live on the 8th floor of this building, take Saif, their father, to the hospital. There was no driver in the family at that time. Saif Ali was taken to Leelavati in an auto rickshaw, viewers. Now, some big questions. How did an assailant gain access to the residence? Did any of Saif's house helps and aid the intruders? How did assailant enter and escape without scrutiny? No alarm was raised, viewers. Nothing. He could have easily been apprehended at the bottom of the staircase. If the building had biometric security, as we are told, or at least a system, how did the intruder get in? How did he get through all the doors? Was the assailant hiding hours before the assault, already in the building? And can this entire issue be politicized in the manner it is being politicized by the opposition to suggest that all Muslim actors in Bollywood are being attacked systematically, attributing motives such as this, or saying that Bombay has become, or Mumbai has become such a unsafe place that even top-line actors like this, or of course an actor turned politician, or a producer turned politician, or much before that even Salman Khan, who's had to put bulletproof glass around his balcony, that all these individuals are being targeted because law and order has gone to pieces in the city. All of these, of course, viewers, are questions that we will be asked. On the right, you are going to be seeing visuals, and that's the auto rickshaw, but you'll also be seeing visuals of Kareena Kapoor. She's there, I think that's the hospital there, viewers, or perhaps even the residence. But this was the state of alarm, panic, unpreparedness. Now let's ask some basic questions, and let's bring in Advaita Kala, author and columnist, who writes many pot boilers for Bollywood, but this would perhaps even exceed her imagination. And there's Akashdeep Sabir, who's here with us, who's an actor. Both of you, welcome. And of course, Shahzad Poonawalla and Tehseen Poonawalla. Tehseen Poonawalla, of course, is entrenched also in the entertainment industry, so he'd also have a bit of an idea and a perspective on all of this. But Advaita Kala, I just want to come out to you and ask you, what are your initial thoughts about this?
It's obviously horrific, Rahul, because something like this happening in the confines of your home, which is supposed to be your safe space, is what nightmares are made of. Mm-hmm. However, the politicking over it that has started with great gusto is frankly vulgar. You have a situation which is very different from the situation that Salman Khan finds himself in. Salman Khan's situation is of a long-standing feud with a gangster, and then he has to take necessary precautions. Saif Ali Khan's position is one of a homeowner who has been attacked inside his home. Horrific, but not necessarily an indication. This did not happen in a public space. So you cannot go ahead and say that all of the city is unsafe because of this. I mean, there are different levels. You can check on what level of preventative policing there was on the street, for example. But even then, you can't stop somebody in a 24/7 city if this man was walking on the street from us and asking him, what are you doing here? It's a free country. Unless he was drunk or misbehaving, there's nothing you can do. So to blame the police in a situation like this is very wrong. The second thing is, like you rightly mentioned, there was biometrics. There's a guard at the door. There was 24 CCTV cameras. Yet this person enters. I believe there's a guard by the elevator also.
Yes.
He through all these layers of security and enters the home. So I think it's the building management which critically needs to answer this question. And of course, this is something that will create shockwaves because you're dealing with a very high-profile celebrity couple.
Yeah.
But then to kind of exaggerate and to say the city is not safe when this is such a specific instance of wrongdoing is very, very wrong.
Okay, let's expand this. Kashdeep Sabir, what do you make of this? And also what Advaita Kala is saying.
I tend to agree with what Advaita is saying, but I'm a little amazed that Saif didn't have his own personal security around his house, irrespective of the fact that he's not living in a bungalow. The kind of profile these people have, they must have their own security because it's a building after all. The society and the managing committees have their own set of biometrics and CCTVs and security guards. But you being Saif and your wife being Kareena, you got to have a guard or two outside your own door 24/7. And that surprised me because that should always have happened knowing the profile of these people. As regards CCTV and other stuff, I've always maintained, and I just said it earlier in another debate, that, it's very casually used today. Oh, but there was CCTV. So what can CCTV do? A hand will come out and stop the robber? A CCTV only helps you find who did it. It cannot stop the crime. So having CCTVs in a building and people feel that now they can sleep well is rubbish. CCTV is just a backup medium. God forbid anything happens, we can find out who came in, but it can't stop the crime. I personally there's not much having come out. The last 2 points I want to make: one, it could be an inside job if this guy could so conveniently walk into their
So
house.
you think that there perhaps was a degree of collusion? Is that what you're
Some
suggesting?
new staff or some old senior staff and all have a certain loyalty quotient to them, but a young staff, staff is normally always employed. There's always someone coming and someone going. He must have done it or so. And otherwise, it's not easy to open a house. I mean, there was no door broken.
Yeah, there was no
window
forced
pane
entry, and
broken.
that's really one of those.
That's surprising.
Yeah.
So you mean it's that easy to walk into Saif and Karina's house? That baffles me. There should have been his personal gun bodyguards sitting outside. They're not supposed to be there only in the day. It's the night when you let off your guard and you're sleeping, and somebody must be there to take.
Well,
there are
some people, Akashdeep, who are making all sorts of commentary, parallel commentary.
Last point, sir.
Yeah, of course.
As you mentioned, and as Adwaita mentioned, I think the opposition is making some ridiculous statements. That look, what's happening? Bombay is not safe. Do they guarantee that if they are in power, there will never be a one-off stray incident? I mean, I've traveled the length and breadth of India and I keep doing it. I think Bombay is one of the safest cities to live in. And attributing this to the government is ridiculous. The safest countries in the world will have a one-off robbery, burglary, or any such incident. So, I mean, they're trying to latch on to every possible incident to sensationalize it. Just shows how desperate they are, because there's no way they're coming back to power. So I hate that kind. Yeah, and then also mentioning playing the Muslim card and all that. Come on, there are different incidents. Salman is faced with a different problem. This seems to be some bloody petty burglar who's walked in here.
Okay,
he thinks it's kid stuff.
Well, no one can, of course, rule out anything in today's day and age. We don't even know if he was hired by somebody. God alone knows. So let's not go there. But the fact is, what we know right now prompts a lot of unanswered questions. How does someone get into a building? We've
hired by someone and coming with a knife. No.
Yeah.
If it's a big gang, it's too early, but these things don't add up. Sorry.
They don't add up. And I mean, if he really had to do something, he would have been, maybe if they could get one person in, they might have wanted to send in a couple of more. Anyhow, those are unanswered questions, viewers. Obviously, this is on the face of it an opportunistic crime. Let's put it like that. Now, could it have been prevented, etc., etc.? Those are larger issues. And frankly, as Adwaita says and as Akashdeep is saying, it's very difficult to police every individual in a city. And if people think that there are vulnerabilities, they will take advantage of them. So, Shahzad Poonawalla, are you surprised that this has taken such a quick political turn? The identity card is being played. Tehseen Poonawalla is here. He'll represent, of course, the Congress point of view, and some of those allies of the Congress who have come out and made a large sort of point about deteriorating law and order, pointing to Baba Siddiqui's murder, Salman Khan, this, that, the other. I think you know what I'm talking about.
First of all, Rahul, as a proud Maharashtrian and somebody who's also associated with city of Pune and then city of Mumbai, let me tell you that there was once upon a time that we used to hear about drug lords, gang lords and other kinds of elements ruling the roost in Mumbai. The days of Arun Gavli, the days of Yaqub Memon, the days of Tiger Memon, the days of Dawood Ibrahim. That was a reality of Mumbai. We also know it was a reality of Mumbai when there used to be multiple blasts that used to rock the city, whether it is the 7/11 blast, whether it is the Zaveri Bazar blast, whether it is the riots that used to take place in various parts of the state. These things have taken place, or the murders of people like J.D. others. But in the last 10 years, if you see, Mumbai's police, and 26/11, of course, 26/11, where Tehseen also has lost many friends. But in the last 10 years, and I'm saying this with a sense of responsibility, but also with a sense of pride. In the last 10 years, there has been a very structural change that has been made towards policing and towards law and order situation, because of which these big incidents have completely stopped and they do not take place, except when there was a gap of about 2 years. And that period of time, we saw that once again there was an attempt to put a bomb outside the house of one of the biggest industrialists of this country.
Yeah, Mr.
We saw how free passes were being given to the Vadhavans. Yes, exactly. We've seen how the justification of Sachin Vaze was done by the then Chief Minister. We have also seen how there were threats being given to celebrities who were tweeting in certain way, or we have seen the Palghar Sadhus issue. So I think that those who are first of all politicizing this should see their own track record. Having said that, let me now weigh in on this particular issue. The Mumbai police has kept an open mind. They are obviously investigating every angle, but they have said that they are investigating towards the angle of burglary. But just now what I have been pointed out to is a Indian Express copy which has been just published, and it is something that is being referred to by the previous speaker also. According to the Mumbai police, the attacker is related to one of the staffers who allowed him entry into the house. The staffer in question is being interrogated.
Obvious. Yeah,
even though I am
obvious.
still being responsible, because I am the spokesperson of the party which is serving the state of Maharashtra. So I do not want to prejudge the situation. All I will tell Mumbaikars and Maharashtrians watching this debate, Mumbai is safe. Our public spaces are safe. Yes, I would encourage societies, I would encourage the private spaces to take even more precaution. But if somebody is colluding with an attacker, well, in that case, even the private space or the RWA or the society can do little. But I would still tell people, do not go by the propaganda that is being pushed by people like Priyanka Chaturvedi and Anand Dubey. I don't think Tehseen has been so irresponsible, to be fair to him. But the rest of them have been, because they are actually desperate. They've lost an election recently. So they will tarnish the image of Mumbai for their petty gains. And I understand why they're doing it.
And
Arvind Kejriwal.
Yeah.
Can I just take 5 more seconds?
Yeah.
Can I just take 5 more seconds?
Yeah, of course.
You know, sorry, Mr. Sabi, just 5 more seconds. Mr. Arvind Kejriwal did a press conference. Maybe he would want to see that in Punjab there was an RPG attack at the Mohali police headquarters. There was a gun fired outside Golden Temple on a deputy CM, former deputy CM. Sidhu Moosewala was killed in broad daylight. International kabaddi player was killed. And in the last 2 months, there have been 10 grenade explosions in Punjab. So maybe Mr. Kejriwal can look at what Bhagwant Mann and his own performances in Punjab, maybe.
Okay. Tehseen Poonawalla, first of all, your thoughts on this attack, devastating, terrible as it is, and also the politics. I mean, I'm sure today as somebody from the opposition, you take responsibility for some of these loose comments that seem to frame this in a very accusatory framework without any proof.
Rahul, good evening. Thank you for having me on the show. On behalf of all the panelists, all our hearts go out to Saif Ali Khan, and we all wish him a very speedy recovery. No one should undergo this kind of suffering. I don't want to make this political. It's not fair to make it political. And I think we should give our police, and I have absolute faith in the Maharashtra police, some time to try and solve this. If they don't solve it, I think it is fair for the opposition to ask questions. It is the job of opposition. But right now, when you start raising questions, it gives countries that are not sort of friendly with India, and we saw a joker from Pakistan, Fawad Chaudhary, trying to pick this up and make it a communal issue, which quite frankly, this doesn't look like. So 2 or 3 questions. Is Mumbai and Maharashtra safe? Very. Is there a culture of some sort of short-temperedness, anger? Yes, that's pan-India. So in Maharashtra. But let's understand that this per se seems to be, and I was speaking to some people in the morning. It seems to be that his staff knows who this person was, and therefore he got entry inside. That is one. But there is another worrying culture in Maharashtra, not just in Maharashtra, across the country, where I do see that celebrities are being targeted. There is that sort of instant fame, sometimes instant gratification, instant anger, instant sort of even making money, where this does happen with celebrities. It happens more so in Mumbai. It's got nothing to do with governments. It is just the nature of how sometimes it's become. And to that extent, I do believe that we need to have a more open discussion as society as to why that is happening. But I can tell you that there was an attack some time ago when it happened onto me. Ultimately, when the police did find a link, the person who did come to throw the acid across did have links to somebody who did work with me many years ago. So there is always some sort of an inside job that does come in. We must give the police reasonable time. Nobody wants this for this city. And I don't think we should make this political. This doesn't look like a religious attack at the moment. Let's not do that and bring it down.
So why are they doing it? Why is the AMM doing it? Why are all your political friends doing it?
If you ask me why is the MIM doing it, the MIM is I don't even consider it I mean, that's a
Okay,
that's-
Shadad Punawala is raising his hand.
there's a larger question that
responsible parties, they seem bigger responsible parties are also
That's
making
true.
callous statements.
That is true.
And you're
I
saying
think
it should
I
not
think we
happen.
should give the
Why
Maharashtra
does it
police
happen?
a few days to come back.
One second. No, forget
We should
that. The
give them a
point
few
is, the point is when these opposition parties make such statements, be it on a national level or be it such petty crimes, don't you think people are far, far more educated to see through this propaganda that they're just latching on to some wind because of their own political mileage? I mean, even uneducated people now understand this ranting, yeah.
May
It
I
should
say this?
stop.
It's not
Yeah,
about
stop
educated
dividing
or
India
It
on
has
this
to
religious,
stop.
constant religious polarization
Yeah, I
that,
just think
scare
that that's
mongering
not
among
done.
Muslims.
Thank God
Can I just
nobody
make one
came
point,
out and
Rahul,
said
before
that
you
Modi
give
ji
it
is
to the BJP
responsible.
spokesperson?
Yeah, I
Can
mean,
just make one
there
point?
was even in
Can I just make one
2611, 2611 viewers, they said was an
Absolutely.
RSS Shajish. We were very
No,
lucky
and Rahul,
that we
people
caught hold
will
of that chap.
I lost a
Thank
few
God
friends. Can
nobody
I
has
just make
come
one
out and
point?
said that no,
Look,
Modi ji is
very much
responsible.
agreed.
Yeah, I mean, when,
Just one point.
For
Mr. Modi
everything
met
they talk of Modi
Saif
ji.
Ali Khan a few days back, we saw all those visuals. There was
Absolutely.
so much bonhomie. Yes, Shahzad Punawala. Yes.
I just want one point before. Just one point. Sorry, Shweta. Just one point.
If Tehsin, if I can come in before you,
Sure,
just 20
sure,
seconds,
sure.
you might appreciate this. The problem with the problem with tonight's debate is that although I have no love lost for Tehsin and the side he represents on most occasions, Tehsin is not the problem here. Tehsin has taken a very responsible line.
Yes,
Unfortunately,
yes.
the problem is that these irresponsible people, and I really, Rahul, I wish you can extend this show for half an hour. Let Tehsin be there, but you should call Priyanka Chaturvedi. Priyanka Chaturvedi has no stake in Maharashtra. She has no stake in Mumbai. She's been sent to the Rajya Sabha on the seat of somebody who is a deserving person, and she comes and makes these statements about our state, and she drives away people. First of all, when her leader was the chief minister, because of him, we lost huge amount of FDI. We lost huge amount of business. We became number 3 in FDI because of their stupidity. And today, when they are out of power, desperate for getting her Rajya Sabha extended or whatever, she makes these stupid statements. I want to call her out.
Rahul, is there no
there's no
way-
problem.
I wish I could. I wish I could engage. I wish I could engage. I take your point.
Let me put Rahul on the spot. Rahul,
Yeah.
is there no mechanism where the media stops covering these people who you're sure are going to make irresponsible statements? Just don't give them airtime.
Very good point. Have I?
Yes,
Have
no,
I?
no,
tonight?
not you. No,
I
no,
have
not
not
you.
put it out.
No,
So
no,
I
no,
have
not
put
you.
this-
Not
this-
you,
I'm,
not
yes,
you.
Advaita Khan.
Agreed,
Yes.
agreed.
I also
But
want
you
to
just
say
not
that
give them
Kareena Kapoor Khan has put out a statement. Advaita, can I listen to this? It has been an incredibly challenging day for our family, and we are still trying to process the events that have unfolded. As we navigate this difficult time, I respectfully and humbly request that the media and paparazzi refrain from relentless speculation and coverage. While we appreciate the concern and support, the constant scrutiny and attention are not only overwhelming but also pose a significant risk to our safety. I kindly request that you respect our boundaries and give us the space we need to heal and cope as a family. I would like to thank you in advance for your understanding and cooperation during this sensitive time. I think that's a very reasonable request. And I think
Fair enough.
and I think that the politicians should actually listen to this instead of cooking up all sorts of stories. Advaita Kala, once
and
again,
this is-
go ahead.
This culture of dial-a-quote politician, I mean, very rarely will you hear of them having actually done something on the ground in terms of public service, if ever. You'll only hear them on these issues. And like Tehsin was saying, the celebrities are being targeted. I feel like celebrities are being targeted by these dial-a-quote politicians who immediately, the moment they sniff out a news headline, they're there to offer their opinion. And it doesn't help the public at all, because what they're doing is just trying to score brownie points and create fear psychosis. I mean, there is nothing to do with Salman Khan's issue and this particular domestic burglary, nothing at all in common. But you just want to jump in there, you want to see yourself on TV and create fear among the public, which is so toxic.
Toxic.
Can I make one
And
point,
and
Rahul?
this will
Just
have
one
repercussions.
5 seconds
Yes.
point, just a 5-second point.
Yes.
Rahul, I want to take this medium of yours to reach out to Indians and say, look, let's not ever make this communal. If this was a communal country, Saif Ali Khan and Salman Khan wouldn't be the stars that they are. This isn't a communal country.
Well said.
There are
Well
issues.
said.
It could be whatever. Let us give them their space. Karina's right. She deserves a space with her husband. He needs to recover. And the police doesn't do their job in a reasonable time. I think, Rahul, we can all be on a show and grill the BJP on that and the appointed DGP Maharashtra. But right now, I think we should give them this space. At least give them 48 hours, 72 hours to sort of get some sort of a lead.
Okay.
Where this guy has gone from CCTV, etc., etc.
Well, viewers, let's call a halt to this conversation now, because I think we have sort of analyzed it from all the angles on available information. Perhaps we can take up the threads tomorrow, because we'll have more information, more clarity, and we won't be misinterpreted. That's the fundamental here, so that there are no more complications and this doesn't turn into a larger law and order issue. So let's move on, viewers, because as I said, this has been a day of dramatic developments. Viewers, remember the Hindenburg research report that was hyped by the Congress party and the George Soros ecosystem to bleed the Adani group by triggering a run on its shares that caused investors to lose $150 billion. Well, that outfit, Hindenburg Research, today suddenly shut shop. Literally out of the blue. We woke up to this news. It came from absolutely out of the blue, viewers. Its promoter, Nate Anderson, putting out a statement boasting about how his team, that wasn't actually even to begin with well versed with financial economics, shook empires, he says, but had now reached a point where his career had become a selfish act. A selfish act. He said, and I quote, "Someone once told me that at a certain point a successful career becomes a selfish act. Early on, I felt I needed to prove some things to myself. I have now finally found some comfort with myself, probably for the first time in my life," unquote. The statement is a long one, and he goes into complimenting his team and how he picked them up and now how he wants this entire platform to become open source. So all his research he wants to put out there. We're waiting for that, of course. But what those selfish acts were, we won't know, viewers, unless Anderson explains himself. But could they possibly include his organization becoming a weapon in the hands of some who wanted to cause upheaval in certain parts of the world for some pecuniary gain? Was he sort of putting out his research for reasons beyond the scope of what it was meant for, viewers, for a price? Is that what he's talking about? We don't know. But the BJP clearly seems to think this and has attacked the opposition, particularly the Congress party, for becoming a vehicle promoting Hindenburg's hit jobs. Now, Shahzad Poonawalla, BJP national spokesperson, says, and I quote him, "Whatever Hindenburg was doing to create economic upheaval and anarchy in India was a sponsored hit job. The Supreme Court took none of their reports seriously. It was funded by elements who are anti-India. Rahul Gandhi asks, and I quote, your international alliance partner Hindenburg has shut its shop. Now, when will you stop your propaganda against India? What is your relationship with Hindenburg? Was it a Soros-sponsored report?" unquote. The Congress hit back at the BJP, saying that its questions on Modi-Adani links weren't entirely based on Hindenburg's findings and the issue was deeper than the BJP is making out to be. Jairam Ramesh, as usual, coming up and saying, this doesn't mean a clean chit. We asked 100 questions, but only 21 questions are based on Hindenburg research. Rest of the 80 questions were based on the policies of the Modi government. Adani is being given all airports and security contracts, unquote. Now, noted lawyers Jay Anand Dehadrai and Mahesh Jethmalani, however, feel that Hindenburg shut shop because it was going to be investigated by the incoming Trump administration, which would uncover the, quote, crooked puppets, unquote, who incentivized the agency's hit jobs against financial and ideological rivals. Mahesh Jethmalani, Supreme Court advocate, says, quote, either he has already been sounded out by investigating authorities in the US or he fears that he will be investigated for his role in the attempt to shake India's economy by hammering of Adani shares, unquote. The views of Dehadrai and Jethmalani may not be entirely off the mark, viewers. There is little doubt that the Hindenburg organization was feeling the heat. Here's a telltale chronology. Just think this through. On the 1st of December 2024, Biden administration gets outed by Republican Trump loyalists for pursuing, quote, selective action, unquote, through the Department of Justice against entities in countries that are vital US allies. Soon after that attack, US Attorney for Eastern District of New York, Breon Peace, who brought fraud and bribery charges against Republican heavyweight Adani Group chairman Gautam Adani and 7 other executives, announced his resignation. Republican Party leaders have claimed with quote proof unquote that Brion Peace had links with Hungarian billionaire and self-professed regime change agent George Soros and was acting at the latter's behest. Now viewers, when Indian companies grow and they become world competitors, then viewers, other companies, especially US companies and other international conglomerates, fear the rise of other competitors. And they try every trick in the book to bring them down. Could this have been, therefore viewers, something that Soros was energizing on behalf of the deep state? Representative Lance Gooden, a member of the House Judiciary Committee, wrote to Attorney General Merrick Garland on 14 January 2025, so about a month and a half later, saying that his action of, quote, chasing rumors abroad risks critical alliances with key US partners, unquote. Gooden also demanded that all the documents and records related to the Justice Department's decision to probe Adani Group must be made public so that the evidence can be examined dispassionately. Now, viewers, Trump takes oath in 4 days. The Trump administration is likely to open investigations into the DOJ. And viewers, will the DOJ then have to explain perhaps some of these inconvenient alliances? Could the DOJ have supplied information to Hindenburg to short a company that was becoming a threat to major US companies? We don't know, viewers. The deep state works in a funny manner. And have certain Indian entities here become willing accomplices in this larger, much larger stratagem of hitting India, debilitating its economy, creating anarchy? These are fundamental questions. Shadad Poonawalla is here with us, the national spokesperson of BJP. Tehseen Poonawalla, political analyst representing the opposition point of view. Jay Anant Dehadrai, a lawyer. First, let me begin with someone who's not associated with any political organization here. Now, Mr. Dehadrai, I've seen what you have put out and it makes a bit of sense. Could you elaborate on this? You seem to suggest that these people are all hitmen and there is a grand puppeteer who's got all these people hanging by some strings. Can you elaborate? Can you explain to our viewers where you're coming from?
Hi, Rahul. Good evening, and thank you for having me on your show tonight. See, it's like this. Let's just look at the facts, because I personally despise conspiracy theories, and I'm certainly not a conspiracy theorist myself. But the facts speak for themselves. You had some allegations that were initially put out by this Hindenburg group, self-serving, profiteering, of course, short sellers. That's not even the problem, really, that they were short sellers, but the fact that the information that they put out, which they portrayed to be genuine and correct information, was ultimately then tested by the Supreme Court, and the Supreme Court appointed a 5-member committee of the finest security law experts in India. They tested that information that came in and they found that this was all bunk. It was bogus. So you have this information that was put out by someone who's looking to profit from it, from the misery of Indian investors. The Indian Supreme Court no less tests it, comes back and says that, look, this is all bunk. And now finally today we are hearing, or late last night, that this entity itself now is disbanding.
Yeah.
So what does that tell us? So that's, I feel personally vindicated. I've been saying this now for over a year and a half, that there is a larger global conspiracy that is at play. Not only, of course, consisting of these foreign elements, and Hindenburg is just one spoke in the wheel, but also certain entities that have helped Hindenburg and Hindenburg's, controllers who are based in India. So now all of that seems to be unraveling, according to me. And I certainly believe, Rahul, and you put it out, in fact, this morning, you put out that chronology very beautifully in your tweet. And you very rightly pointed out that this is no coincidence that in 4 days you have a new American administration coming in with Donald Trump assuming the presidency. He has, in fact, he's made it clear that the DOJ has been acting in a politically motivated fashion. But it's not just Trump. Why are we forgetting when Joe Biden's own son was being prosecuted by the DOJ? President Biden himself put out a statement raising questions about the impartiality of his department, so-called Department of Justice. So these are all facts, Rahul. I haven't come up with these facts. Neither have you. No one on this panel certainly has. But these are facts, and it's easy to see the common link, the thread, the pattern sort of emerging. And one final sort of thought, you mentioned Lance Godin, the U.S. representative, the congressman, from Texas. And he wrote a very interesting letter to Merrick Garland, the Attorney General, and he said that, look, you better preserve all of the material, the justifications, file notings and so forth that led up to this decision to investigate Adani for alleged bribery that happened some 12,000 kilometers away. So now you have this news seemingly that is tightening around Hindenburg's associates. And now suddenly they disband 4 days, before a new president takes over. So my feeling is this, that Indian politicians, individuals based in India who irresponsibly touted this report as being gospel should be prosecuted, according to me, to the fullest extent permissible under the law.
You know what
because
my worry is?
Irresponsible.
I speak for the public interest because that's what I can do as a journalist. My worry is that who will give back to investors those billions of dollars that they lost because of this? I mean, I find it rather strange. It must be a mighty coincidence, and I want to bring in Shahzad Poonawalla on the Congress response. Mighty coincidence that on the one hand you had Hindenburg attacking Adani at the very same time the DOJ was investigating Adani. Mighty coincidence, but the Congress has come out and says, listen, don't simplistically join the dots. Just because Hindenburg has wrapped up its operation doesn't mean that our claims against Mr. Adani, the accusations of Mr. Modi and Mr. Adani doing business together are wrong. So Shahzad Poonawalla, could you respond to this Jairam Ramesh statement?
First of all, I completely agree that Jairam Ramesh has said that just because Hindenburg has wrapped up its operations yesterday, the Congress party has started its operations from a new building. So clearly the operations of destabilizing the Indian economy, of having a targeted hit job towards the Indian economy and using a sponsored Soros Supari gun to do that won't stop. And look, what did Rahul Gandhi yesterday say? He said that he wants to target the Indian state. The Indian state includes three elements. One, the Indian institutions, which they routinely abuse in, even on foreign soil, even though their own allies don't agree with them. The second element is the Indian economy, which they've been targeting through the likes of Hindenburg and making false claims and ensuring that Indian investors lose money. And the third is obviously the Indian Sena, which they routinely question and doubt, and they ask for proof of surgical strike, etc. Now, as far as the economy is concerned and as far as Hindenburg is concerned, no less than the Supreme Court vindicated what was being said, that Hindenburg is nothing but a complete hit job. Let me just make a couple of quotes. The Supreme Court said that nothing was conclusive in that report, that there was nothing credible in it. Where is the proof? And in fact, the Supreme Court directed that there should be investigation on Hindenburg, which was doing short selling by creating, yes, Hindenburg, by doing short selling and earning huge profits at the expense of Indian investors. So the Supreme Court has ordered the ED investigation or investigations into that. Now I just have 2 or 3 questions. One, why was Rahul Gandhi attaching credibility to such an organization which itself was under question by the Department of Justice in the United States? 2, when the Supreme Court itself had categorically denied it, even then Rahul Gandhi was giving the importance to it. 3, Rahul Gandhi's own allies, including the likes of Sharad Pawar, Samajwadi Party, Trinamool Congress in the last parliament session, they themselves had distanced themselves from this issue. So clearly they also did not find that this issue was worth stalling parliament or creating the kind of economic upheaval or economic panic that they were trying to create. So the question really is that will Rahul Gandhi stoop to any level in Modi Virod and do Virod of Indian economy, cause damage to Indian economy? That seems to be the agenda, that to target the Indian state, they will go to any level, which includes damaging the Indian economy. But now the truth has come out, so at least they should categorically apologize, and they should have a legal price to it also that should be paid by them.
Now this is very interesting, because I'll just jog your memories back to a particular point, and Tehseen Poonawalla, please pay attention. Here is the Soros link, viewers. Now, I'm not a conspiracy theorist. We're just going to go by the money trail. Hard evidence. Soros sits on top. he funds something called the OCCRP, which is a agglomeration of journalists who portend to sort of be doing investigative journalism. Then you have the DOJ that has links to Soros, which have come out, at least the boss of the DOJ, the Attorney General at one level in America. And then you have a third pillar, an Asia Pacific panel on which Sonia Gandhi was one of the main instrumentalities, which argues for the breakup of India, i.e. to give freedom, azadi, whatever it is, to Jammu and Kashmir, the entire state. And this goes on for a long time before that is disbanded. So viewers, and Tehseen Poonawalla, you have to answer this, because the words that are being used is sponsored, that Hindenburg was sponsored. How do you know it wasn't? How do you know that it wasn't paid to do a hit job on Adani, cook some books up, some facts, put them out there? The Supreme Court itself is saying that it has no evidence, that that report doesn't amount to anything consistent with the facts. It's a bunch of lies. And you push it. You have to explain.
Rahul, thank you so much. So since you asked me to explain it to two fabulous speakers here, it's slightly grey. I'm very uncomfortable with the Honorable Supreme Court getting into economic issues, with absolute respect to the Supreme Court. Because when the Supreme Court or any court starts saying, why are you short selling? In free markets, short selling is a legitimate means. Not that I'm
Who went to the Supreme Court?
May I just let me explain my position so you may understand the greenness. Yes, these guys went, the left loonies went. I agree on that with that report. But it's difficult when you try and control free markets. You shouldn't control free markets. That is point one. People like Soros benefit from free markets, absolute benefit from free markets by shorting it. That is another issue whatsoever. So let's keep this out. Markets will find their levels. The issue out here is different that the opposition is raising. Hindenburg itself, one, is not some beacon of morality. It's a short selling firm. They're open about it. They short sell to make a profit. Therefore, they should not masquerade as some beacon of morality. Having said that, what the opposition is raising was issues of structural governance and institutional governance. Those are different from individual issues that are being raised. That's point number one. Point number two, this was so easy if only the SEBI in time would have given the structural answers that were required. The point is that markets will always find a level. For every short seller, there will be a long buyer. I don't think courts should get into there. What I do believe, however, is when reports like these come out, the institutions must react immediately so that the truth is completely out in front of people. More information, not less information.
It is so easy
That's where
tonight.
I come from.
So easy tonight, Tehseen Poonawalla, for you to say, oh, you know, they shouldn't have done this. Look at the consequences, viewers.
So the
Are we going to allow these people to just get away by saying, no, chalo, theek hai, it's okay, done. You know, the Supreme Court shouldn't have got into it. We should have been a little more careful. Look at the consequences. You stall Parliament, loss to Exchequer, loss, viewers, to legislation, legislative business that impacts our lives. Number two, misled the public to make wrong choices electorally during the Lok Sabha and after, and worse, caused irreparable loss to the ordinary Indian citizen. Do you know how much of a hole, viewers, was blown by this? I mean, look at the astounding number here. Can you believe $150 billion just goes in one day? And who makes the money? I don't even want to go there. Anand Dehadrai, I mean, how can today someone say, no, let's walk away? And then you go by, and the Supreme Court comes in and says, no, they've gone by this OCCRP report. I've got the exact quote. Now you tell me.
Very quickly.
Yeah.
Sorry, Rahul, very quickly. I very respectfully disagree with the gentleman who spoke before me.
Tehseen.
See, the SEBI can't act instantaneously.
Yeah.
Let's understand this. I mean, this is a little childish to suggest that the SEBI should have come out immediately and given an explanation. I'm sorry, it doesn't work like that. Number one. Number two, who else do you expect other than the Supreme Court of India? Who else do you expect other than the Supreme Court of India to come in and look at an issue like this? For God's sake, they brought in 5 incredible individuals whose integrity cannot be questioned and who are experts in securities law. They came in, they analyzed the issue, and they said that there is nothing questionable. One final thing. Nobody is saying, as you know, the gentleman before me said, that, you know, short sellers do this and, you know, they're supposed to. Nobody is questioning the existence of short sellers, but short sellers or any other trader who acts on fraudulent information,
absolutely,
Rahul, It cannot be allowed.
And
then you have politicians like Mr. Gandhi and his friends in the opposition who decide, they just jump on the report.
And also Soros giving lectures.
Yes, of
Yeah,
course.
let me bring in Shehzad Punawala on the political point here. Yes.
Yeah, like a right to
Yeah, okay.
quickly.
Both of you can respond to each
Just
other.
very quickly, and then
Punawala.
Tehseen
Yes.
can respond to both.
Yeah. Go ahead.
I'll just request Tehseen 30 seconds and then he can
yeah.
respond to everything consolidatedly. Look, if Tehseen is indeed saying that it was the structural issues that they wanted addressed, they did not need to rely on a sponsored foreign report which came one day before Parliament session, and immediately it is taken up, made into a big headline in the media, and then Parliament is put on hijack mode because of that report. They did not need to do that. Point number 2, how come these structural issues, and Rahul, permit me, Adani's history started with Mundra port, which was given by the Gujarat government when it was a Congress government. No structural issue in the company at that time. First PVC business of Adani given by Rajiv Gandhi and Narasimha Rao. No structural issue in that company. Adani Enterprises gets registered under Congress in 94. No structural issue. 2006 to 2008, 6 SEZs handed over to him. No structural issue. Mining and power business grow in 2008 to 2013. He acquires an Australian mine to import coal. No structural issue. Becomes the biggest private sector thermal power plant player. No structural issue. 2013 solar power plant player. He becomes the biggest. He gets Vizhinjam port in Kerala. He gets Bengal Tajpur port. He gets business in Rajasthan run by Congress. He gets business in Chhattisgarh run by Congress. He gets business in Jharkhand run by JMM and Congress. He gets the Vizhinjam port. He gets the Dighi port in Maharashtra run by UBT. No structural issue. Structural issue is seen where? When he does investment in some state in Gujarat or some other state in which is BJP ruled. This structural issue kaisa hai Tehseen bhai? Please tell me how the structural issue
Quick
stops at border of Rajasthan
Jay Anand
and enters in the border of
and Shehzad
Very quickly, I
Punawala
just
pitched
want
a
to say
question.
another thing.
Okay.
I think what Shehzad says is correct.
me just-
If Rahul Gandhi has material available with him, or if Tehseen Punawala has material with him to suggest that there is a structural issue or any
Bring
other
it out.
illegality,
Bring it
why
out.
don't you go and file a petition?
Yes.
Why
Tehseen
is it
Punawala.
that you shoot off the back of somebody who's based in in the United States and then conveniently disown the report once the chap disbands itself? What nonsense
Completely
is this?
disbands himself. Yes.
So I don't
Shoot
know.
and scoot. Yeah. Tehseen Punawala.
So I don't know who was the lawyer who spoke before Shehzad. I don't have a screen in front of me, but definitely a very bad homework, juvenile-ish homework, because there are two reports. One is a SEBI report. One is the expert
I may
committee
be
report, which is
juvenile-ish, but at least I'm not
completely
a
different. Sir, I
cartoon
never
like you,
interrupted you.
Tehseen
Sir, I never
Punawala.
interrupted
You're
you.
a cartoon.
May I,
And with a supporter like you in the Congress, they don't need
sir,
any.
if you want
Okay,
to, sir, you
okay,
may
let's
please
not
get
get-
personal
okay,
with
okay,
me.
Tehseen,
Sir, you may please
let's
get
not
per-
make-
oh,
let's not make value
I
loaded-
never.
Okay,
the word
let's not
childish
make
was first
value
used by
loaded
the-
comments.
by the
No
bad
one has
lawyer,
attacked you.
But may I please make my point? May I please
Yeah,
make
but
my point?
make it
I never
with
interrupted
big
anybody.
restraint. Don't make personal jibes at
Rahul,
anyone. That's
Rahul,
not fair.
Rahul,
Yeah.
it's very unfair.
Yeah.
I never made
but
any
you also-
personal.
you also have
no,
said-
I did not use the personal adjective.
You, of
first.
course, you
the word
demeaned-
childish was
demeaned
used
his-
first by the lawyer.
You can't
please,
say.
Rahul.
Anyhow,
Rahul,
go ahead,
please,
go
Rahul,
ahead,
please,
go
may I
ahead,
have
go
my
ahead,
say?
go ahead, go ahead.
The word childish was first used by the lawyer, the same lawyer who claimed to have seen a crime being conducted and decided only when it was convenient to go report the crime, not when the crime was actually being conducted. So please, keep your morality to yourself and don't next time on live TV lecture me on morality. Hope I'm clear on that. Now let me come to the issues that I've been raising. There are two issues. There are two issues.
You're a cartoon.
That's the best you got.
Okay, let's rise above this,
Get up from
gentlemen.
kindergarten.
Let's rise
That's the
above
best
this,
you got.
please.
No wonder your
Okay, one second. Tehseen Punawala, make your point. Make your point. Okay, make your point, Tehseen Punawala. Please don't engage. Now make your point. Make your point.
Thank you.
Please.
Thank you.
Yeah, make
Thank
your
you.
point. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't want to indulge with
Yeah,
juvenile.
don't, please,
I
so just
apologize
make
for
your
the
point, then
juveniles.
I've not got all the
Yeah,
time in the
thank
world.
you.
I have a minister
Look,
waiting
what-
for me. We have to
look.
discuss the ISRO historic feat. Yes.
Yes. In any responsible country, it is the job of the opposition to ask questions of every institution. In every responsible country, it is the job of the government to protect the money of investors. Investors lost their money on this report because the government and its institutions did not react fast enough to even tell us a simple thing that there was no insider trading. It is their job to do it. Questions will be asked of all institutions, governments, and institutions have to respond. If there is any foreplay, the government is duty bound to prosecute them.
Viewers,
Why is Hindenburg
viewers,
owners
just a
not
minute.
being
Viewers,
prosecuted in
here is
India?
the problem.
Why did
Here
they
is the
fight out
problem.
India?
There is an
There's a SEBI
assumption.
report.
There is an assumption being made by Tehseen Punawala prematurely. And I'll tell you why. They said the government must respond. Why should the government respond to what a private company is doing? No, one second. Just a minute. Tehseen Punawala, when this
I'll answer
statement...
that.
No, one second. When the government steps in, you
Because
say,
you
oh...
made it about the
No, please
government.
now listen to me. Please. When the government steps in, the Congress says, oh, they are defending a private player. Why should they be doing that? When it doesn't, they say the government should have stepped in.
May I answer that
Hindenburg,
for you?
one second, Hindenburg,
I'll
some
answer
Joe
that for you.
Blow, hang on, some Joe Blow who's backed by a team who says himself had no experience of any financial sort. Zero.
So has the government
Puts out a report, the very next day, the shares tank. Because panic is created, viewers. This man needs to go to jail. This chap, Hindenburg chap, because his entire thesis was based on lies. That's what the Supreme Court is saying, I'm not saying. Supreme Court that was abetted and aided by, viewers, a technical committee. They are saying that he's a fraud. Now he's vamoosed, viewers, disappeared, shoot, scoot. And the Congress party doesn't know what to do. It's left with the can in its hands. And you know what that can carries, viewers, and today it's hit the fan. So I'm not going to say much more. And it's splattering everybody. And they don't know where to hide. And on the back of this, viewers, they held up Parliament, they've caused loss to the taxpayer, and viewers, worse, as I told you, they've shaken investor confidence in the India growth story. This is a major assault on the Indian state. Bigger than the purported claims that were being made yesterday by Rahul Gandhi. Think about it. This was a real attack with fissile material, financial fissile material. Think about that, viewers. I want to move on because we can't always be endlessly swamped by negativity. What a day it is. The Indian Space Research Organization on Thursday successfully completed the docking process of the SpaceX satellites. Two satellites, viewers, came together millions of miles apart to do that. Look on your screens. They locked in. They tied into each other. The historic moment came just days after the space agency on January 12 brought the two spacecrafts to within 3 meters and then placed them back at a safe distance in its trial attempt to dock the satellites millions of miles away, viewers. The space docking experiment mission was successfully launched on December 30th, 2024. ISRO shared the docking process of the SpaceX satellites in a post on X and said that it begins with the completion of a maneuver from 15 meters to 3 meters hold point. Then docking is initiated with precision, leading to a successful spacecraft capture. Retraction completed smoothly, followed by rigidization for stability. Docking successfully completed, unquote. This is what ISRO has said. To put this entire achievement into perspective, let's go straight across to Union Minister in the Modi cabinet, Dr. Jitendra Singh, MOS, Space Department, as well as, of course, MOS in the PMO. Thank you very much, Dr. Jitendra Singh, for speaking with me this evening. Put this entire very significant development into perspective and tell us, how has it come to be at such low financial cost to the Indian exchequer and fundamentally with total indigenization?
Thank you, Rahul. At the outset, I have to thank you for having me over here. As you rightly mentioned, every Indian, you, me, every one of us feeling proud about it, and also it's been a wonderful journey in the last few years as far as ISRO is concerned, one stride after the other. I think it's also been, let me start from there, it's been possible because of the new space reforms brought in. See, we never had a dearth of acumen or potential or capabilities. If you recall those photographs of the archive photographs of Sarabhai carrying some of his saman on the carriage of the bicycle, which means that we were devoid of resources, not of human resource, but otherwise. And possibly that kind of an enabling milieu which is expected from the level of the policy makers or from the level of the political dispensation was possibly not forthcoming. That happened only, started happening only after 2014 when Prime Minister Modi came in. And just about 4 years back, the unbelievable happened, because for 60, 70 years, the Department of Space had been functioning in silos, and they had reconciled to carry on like that. When Prime Minister Modi allowed us to open up to the private sector, the wider participation, wider collaboration, of which SpaceX mission is also one example, because even though ISRO was conducting it, it had a number of other institutions also collaborating, whether in the private sector, in the public sector. And I think that's one of the beautiful illustrations of whole of science, whole of government, whole of nation. Now, having said that, what makes SpadeX different from other 3 countries which are already there as a part of this elite league who have this capability is that this is a mission which is totally indigenous from A to Z.
Indigenous.
That also gives us a tremendous amount of confidence and self-esteem. B, that it's a very cost-effective mission, like most of our other missions. Chandrayaan 3 cost just about 600 crore, and this one less than 400 crore, which is absolutely nothing compared to the corresponding missions by the other nations. And third and most importantly, that many of our missions which are lined up in the months and years to come are going to have their own place as space accompaniments universally. Like for example, our Bharatiya Antariksh Station. We are looking forward to have our own space station over there, which was so far only one station, the International Space Station. Then we look forward to have a human in space, the first ever human mission. Then we look forward to having a Indian human landing on the surface of moon. So all these missions would require docking and undocking capability. In addition to this, we also plan to get back the samples collected by Chandrayaan 3 back to Earth for further analysis. For that too, you require this kind of a facility available. Then maybe in the times to come, when we realize that there is a satellite in place which is functioning well, which needs to carry on for a longer while, how do you re-energize it? So this is a means of carrying payloads and sort of refueling it. Similarly, this mission SpadeX also becomes different from other similar missions by the other 3 nations, is that we have another component called crop, which means experimenting with orbital plant research. Some seedlings have already started coming up. So that if the astronaut is there for a longer while, what are the kind of vegetations or cultivations that can happen in the space environment. Maybe later on we are also going to study space biology when the astronauts stay there for a longer while.
So a lot you're saying is lined up in the future, Dr. Saab. A lot is being lined up in the future. Thank you very much. This will really open and expand the horizons, viewers, for India's space research program, taking us very far afield and allowing us to do things that we haven't been able to do thus far. Thank you very much for watching. Palki Sharma up with The Vantage next. Don't go away, viewers.
सैफ अली खान के घर के बाहर हूँ और यहाँ पे जो है ये गेट से अंदर गया होगा ऐसा पुलिस का अनुमान है, क्योंकि ये गेट की जो हाइट है काफ़ी कम है। आप देखिए कि सीधा जो है बेसमेंट में जाता है और बेसमेंट में रात के टाइम में जो है यहाँ पर कोई भी प्राइवेट सिक्योरिटी गार्ड मौजूद नहीं रहता, इसी का फ़ायदा उठाया है। हालांकि पुलिस का ये कहना है कि जिसने भी चोर जो अंदर घुसा था वो सैफ अली खान के घर का चप्पा चप्पा जानता था। अब एक्सक्लूसिव वीडियो देखिए कि बिल्डिंग में जो है मुंबई पुलिस की टीम जो है छानबीन कर रही है। आप देखिए एक्सक्लूसिव वीडियो आप अपने स्क्रीन पे देख सकते हैं, जिसमें हर चप्पा चप्पा बिल्डिंग का जो है मुंबई पुलिस छानबीन कर रही है और सैफ अली खान के घर में मौजूद सभी नौकर जो थे उनकी पूछताछ फिलहाल चल रही है। साथ में वो नौकरानी जिसने सबसे पहली बार चोर को देखा था उसका भी स्टेटमेंट मुंबई पुलिस ने लिया है। मुंबई पुलिस और क्राइम ब्रांच की टीम जो है आप यहाँ पर देखिए, पुलिस अंदाज़ा लगा रही है कि चोर कैसे घुसा होगा, क्या वो पीछे के रास्ते से ऊपर की तरफ गया है या नहीं। आप देखिए एक्सक्लूसिव वीडियो अपने स्क्रीन पर देख सकते हैं, जिसमें मुंबई पुलिस की टीम जो है इस बिल्डिंग का चप्पा चप्पा छान रही है। साथ में ही जो सीसीटीवी बिल्डिंग में करीब 24 सीसीटीवी है उसकी भी छानबीन जो है मुंबई पुलिस ने की है। हालांकि जांच में अभी तक पता उनको नहीं लग पाया है कि चोर एग्जैक्टली कहां से अंदर घुसा था और कहां से वो भागने में कामयाब हुआ। मुंबई पुलिस की टीम जो है यहाँ पर पूरे डॉग स्क्वाड के साथ में पहुँची है। डॉग स्क्वाड ने भी घर के अंदर का मुआवजा किया है। साथ में ही मुंबई पुलिस ने इस वक्त जो है 3 लोगों की पूछताछ कर चुकी है, क्योंकि सैफ के घर में करीब 8 नौकर दिन रात काम करते हैं। उसमें से 3 लोगों का स्टेटमेंट जो है मुंबई पुलिस ने लिया है। हालांकि पुलिस को अभी तक ये पता नहीं लगा है कि चोर जो है भागकर कहाँ गया। इसके बाजू में ही मैं आपको दिखाऊंगी कि यहाँ पर जो है ये जो बिल्डिंग है उसके बाजू में ही एक प्राइवेट बंगलो है। ये प्राइवेट बंगलो की ऊंचाई भी जो है काफ़ी छोटी सी है और ये दरवाज़ा जो है इस घर का जो नाम है पेटफीना नाम है, पीटर फर्नांडिस नाम के बंदे का ये घर है जो यहाँ पर रहते हैं। अब से कुछ देर पहले हमने उनसे बात की थी। ये जो गेट है ये गेट से अंदर की तरफ जाते हैं और ये रास्ता जो है पूरा सैफ अली खान की जो बिल्डिंग है वहाँ पे कनेक्ट करता है। मैं आपको अंदर लेके जाऊँगी और दिखाऊंगी कि कैसे आप देखिए कि ये रास्ता जो है, ये दीवार जो है वो सैफ अली खान के बिल्डिंग की है। पुलिस को ये भी अंदाज़ा है कि शायद चोर यहाँ से भागकर इस बिल्डिंग में गया होगा। मुंबई पुलिस की टीम जो है यहाँ पर भी आई है, छानबीन की है और ये बंगलो ठीक बाजू में है, सैफ अली खान की बिल्डिंग के बाजू में 12वीं मंजिल पर जो है सैफ अली खान रहते हैं। हालांकि ये जो बिल्डिंग है वहाँ पर सिर्फ 6 परिवार ही रहते हैं। जी हाँ, सिर्फ 6 परिवार ही रहते हैं, क्योंकि 12 मंजिल के बिल्डिंग में डुप्लेक्स फ्लैट है। सैफ अली खान का भी डुप्लेक्स फ्लैट है। सिर्फ 6 परिवार के लोग ही जो है इस पूरे बिल्डिंग में रहते हैं। उनकी भी पूछताछ जो है पुलिस कर रही है। पुलिस को अंदाज़ा यही है कि जो भी चोर अंदर घुसा था उसको पूरा पता था कि बिल्डिंग में कहाँ से जाना है, कहाँ से निकलना है, कहाँ कहाँ CCTV लगा है, वो भी इस चोर को पता था। यानी पुलिस का ये मानना है कि जो भी अंदर घुसा था, जिसने सैफ अली खान के ऊपर चाकू से 6 वार किए हैं, उसको पूरा